morning and welcome to Daybreak Live Extra on Dominion Television. It's Friday the 13th of March 2026. Thank you for starting your morning with us. I'm Nwoye Adelakun.
And I'm Ido.
And I am Samson Balogun. We are glad to have you join us as we bring you the conversations shaping the day.
We begin this morning with political developments stirring debate within Nigeria's legislative space. Tension has reportedly risen in the Senate following the defection of Senators Enyinnaya Abaribe, Aminu, Tambuwal, Ireti, Kingibe, and several others to the African Democratic Congress, ADC, a move that could reshape alignment and political calculations ahead of future electoral contest.
After our opening conversation, we'll bring you the weather report, helping you plan your day across the country, followed by Daybreak News, where we'll take you through national stories making the rounds in the country, Nigeria, this morning.
All right, then it's time for newspaper headlines and analysis, where we examine the narratives dominating today's front pages. And joining us for that conversation is Lekon Shubowale, a seasoned journalist and public affairs analyst who will help us unpack the issues shaping public discourse this morning.
Then later in the program, we turn to our big story, rules of the game. Does the new electoral act tilt the field toward the ruling party? It's a question that continues to spark debate across the political landscape. To help us examine the legal and political implications, we'll be joined by Honorable Omolaja Olaoye, APC chieftain and public affairs analyst.
And as always, we'll wrap up with Trend Watch, where we track conversations and development, capturing public attention across social and civic spaces.
Of course, this is Daybreak Live Extra on Dominion Television. Stay with us.
Please stay with us. Good morning to you people.
Good morning.
Great people in the house.
Really nice to be back here.
Yeah.
Friday. Like Yemi will always do. She's been craving for a Friday show since Monday. And I wonder how different she is from Nigerian politicians who were craving for 2027 and 2025.
This is Thursday, actually. Yesterday, on Monday.
Okay. Well then, we are back here. And we must talk about alignment and realignment on the floor of the Red Chamber. We saw some senators moving from one political party to the other yesterday. And as expected, more senators are leaving the PDP and joining other political parties. And we must also say some left the Labour Party to also join ADC, just like some from the PDP did. And most notably, Senator Ireti Kingibe has left the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, to join the ADC. Enyinnaya Abaribe, who has been one of the most vocal senators in Nigeria, also dumped his political party to join the ADC. Now, the only option that is left, aside from the PDP, and you don't want to join the APC, for me, in Nigeria is the ADC. And obviously, 10 senators. That says a lot about how urgent this new electoral act has made some people act and react to things in the country politically. And you don't want to be in a corner where there will be no option to run when things are finally done on you that you have stayed too long in a party that might likely not field a candidate in any political position come 2027. PDP, for example, if the battle between Nyesom Wike of the FCT, former governor of Rivers State, and the executive governor of Oyo State, His Excellency Engineer Abia, continues the way it is going. Some people say it is becoming more of a personal beef between Nyesom Wike and Shemakide of Oyo State, but I don't want to think so. I think it is politically motivated. They have two different opinions, and the alignment doesn't really align at this time. Let me put it that way. Nyesom Wike has boldly said he's working with the APC. Whatever it is you want to say, I want to align with the APC. So, more or less like even if the PDP has a candidate, he's still going to work against that candidate and then pitch his tent with the APC. And Shemakide and Mohammed, who are the only two surviving senators in the PDP, if I want to use that expression, are saying, look, we should field a candidate and fight till the end. Even if the PDP won't win the election, at least we must give up a good fight. But then, as it stands, we are seeing more people leaving the party. Does that spell doom for PDP as a national political party in Nigeria? It's a big question this morning.
Right, it's a big question. And even before this whole massive defection, a lot of persons felt at the time that PDP is dead. And so it depends on, people who stood, feel like PDP is still alive. So it's really sad that at the time, about 9 senators, decided to defect to the ADC. And then maybe that's why some persons decided to roll their eyes to say, why all of you moving to the ADC? Because, I mean, we have people from PDP, from Labour Party, and from APGA. And then I think the others did not even cause so much, opera, compared to Abaribe, Senator Abaribe, Enyinnaya. And then I think his case is a little bit, delicate, because he was asked a question, the deputy, speaker asked him a question to say that, if at all you want to defect from APGA to ADC, it must be on the basis that, okay, there is internal crisis in APGA, and not just at the local level, it must be at the national level, and that's when it can count. Because I mean, there was a case of, Ifedayo Abegunde at the time that, he cited internal crisis in his party too. Labour Party at that time, but the court ruled that that cannot count because the crisis was at the local level, so he lost his seat because of that. So they are now telling Abaribe that you will lose your seat because why? There's no crisis in APGA compared to the likes of Senator Ireti that defected from the Labour Party. It's obvious.
That will make it
right. So it's obvious to so many that we have factions in Labour Party. Talk about the likes of Abure and Usman, and even for PDP is even obvious to the blind that they are going through a lot as a political party. So they are saying you can either defect if there is a national crisis, or if your party decided to merge with another political party. But then any of this is not the case with Abaribe. But he now said the party expelled him last year September, and on that basis, that's the reason why he's defecting to the ADC. Because I mean, if the party can decide to expel you, it simply means they don't care whether they sponsored your election or not. They want you out. So this is the issue now. And of course, the Akpabio and the others are now asking him to prove that indeed APGA actually expelled him, because I mean, according to Akpabio, he has no idea that he was expelled from APGA. So why is he coming out to say he wants to defect now? So I think what is actually obtainable in the constitution says that you can only defect, just like I mentioned, if there's a national crisis or if your party decided to merge with another political party. But now that Abaribe is coming out with another point, according to section 66 subsection 1G of the Nigerian constitution, that is what is obtainable. But he's proving another case now. So it's left to Abaribe to now prove to
beyond reasonable doubt
exactly that indeed APGA expelled me, and if a party decided to expel me, what else? They don't want me in the party, so I have to leave. So I think that's the only way he can retain his seat, because I mentioned the case, even Tambuwal at the time left his party, and then he was able to retain his seat. Even Akpabio that we are speaking about, he left PDP in 2018, and then he cited internal crisis. Even that crisis at that time was not even national. It was at the state level. But then they didn't challenge him. The court didn't challenge him, and of course he retained his seat. But now that they are challenging Abaribe,
no one cared to take
exactly. But Abaribe is vocal in the house. We all know Abaribe. If he doesn't like it, he will speak up and things like that. Maybe that's why. So he's left to Abaribe to now prove his case to say, okay, other persons have defected, based on certain issues. So I also want to defect. So if he can prove that he was expelled, I think there might be a window to allow him to keep his seat.
I guess I'm just going to come in from the angle of maybe a bit of history now. Maybe the question would be, is ADC a new party? Not exactly. It was created in 2005, which makes a lot of sense, because we understand even the coalition of the APC was around 2013 or so. Maybe
we should consider the ADC a party that was rebranded,
okay,
and repainted.
Yeah, that's exactly one way to look at it, and to also consider why there's a bit of noise around the ADC now, because some are already guessing it could be a political opposition, a party that is stronger. Compared to the people in crisis, of course, the Labour Party and then the PDP. So some are saying, especially because we have some notable figures in the party now. Talk about Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, David Mark, Aruf Adegbeshola, and quite a number of persons too. Because those people are pulling their weight, really. They are trying to do a lot of things. Because obviously, why would you? The question would have been that, okay, if you are defecting from APGA, from Labour Party, from the PDP, the next move should have been the APC, which everybody is doing. But these guys are not doing the same, because they are seeing a chance for a third leg, like we used to call it now. Maybe this is the second leg, because I remember one time people were requesting for where is the third leg in the political party system or structure of the country. But my issue here is this: if this party has been in existence in 2005, what structures do they have in place? Because I know for one, structures win elections. not just structures. I mean structures that can get you the numbers, structures that can get you into the grassroots systems and get what you want to get out of the people. Those are the things that can win elections. But again, maybe it's a question of, do we think the likes of these political warheads inside the party, the ADC party, have enough structure, have enough capacity, have enough stability to win any of this? Because we understand also that, of course, even with this defection, they still have quite a number of ways to, to also get to break even, right? They still have a lot of distances to cover, in this election 2027. But maybe all people are expecting that if they can really do the opposition game and play the opposition game very well, maybe they will also have something to say. But no, maybe I was trying to look at how many reps they have in government, how many representation in terms of numbers, House of Reps and all of that, but I'm not seeing so much. But we cannot tell. I remember Yemi was saying I think maybe last week, she was alluding to the fact that we've not seen the best of defections because something might still shock us. And I think for a lot of people, this is a shocker, that lawmakers are trooping into another party that is not the APC. I think that's where the shock is for me personally, to say, why are you not going to? Because we also understand that there can be a point where the APC can be so congested that anybody that is coming would have to count the cost. That, am I really going to be sustainable, doing this? Am I going to have a sustained period of reign, as it were? That's a way to count it, to say, is it possible that you come 2027 and maybe after 2027, what be my lot? Maybe my lot no go be another kind of lot, will be like lots where they Bible, we don't really get what you're supposed to get. But that's exactly the conversation for some people, to say, if I want to defect to the APC, doesn't make sense. Now, ADC makes a lot of sense for a lot of people now, and this is why. It is less structured in a sense. It is less populated in a sense. So you can always come and say, this is what I want. You can cherry pick and say, may I want this position, may I want that position, because there's so much to go for, especially for big guys that are coming into the party. So you understand they are big political warlords, so they can pull weight. So they say, give me this party, so I can come to it. So there's a bargain. They can make a very profitable bargain, productive bargain coming into the ADC. But for the APC, it might not be so like that, because if you say you want something that the president has already given to somebody, it might be a big deal eventually. So I guess this is one of the ways we can also look at it, to say people are trooping in because they see this as a way to even get more chances to rule and to really acknowledge, to activate whatever they want to activate.
I think, yes, the ADC is gaining ground, but I don't think they have enough as we speak. I think there's still a long way to go to catch up with the APC, provided the APC remains as solid as it is right now, and there's no internal implosion anywhere. But you must also understand that most of these lawmakers who are moving from their political parties to join the ADC, some of them do not have that golden card to return or go to the APC. Just like you mentioned, what's the chances? What are the chances that there'll be a negotiation that favors them come 2027? One of the things you will tell them when you are moving to the political party, I want to return to this office. I want this particular office. So there's negotiation here and there, and then they determine, you can come, and then there is room for you to actually take this or take that. But if you look at the APC right now, everywhere is filled up. Okay, whoever comes into the APC comes in on the basis of the fact that, let's fight for this, and then let's see what will happen at the end of the day, because you are definitely going to go into that party meeting some big wigs who are also vying for the same position that you are vying for. And you might just now likely have the weight to actually stand them within their party. You might win that election outside, but within the party, you don't have what it takes to get that election, done in there. Away from there, let's now take a look at some of these senators and lawmakers who have had issues with the APC, and they do not necessarily have the golden card to go to the APC. And if we talk about Senator Enyinnaya Abaribe, he has been one of the most vocal on the floor of the House, who has spoken out about the APC and of course the leadership of Senator Godswill Akpabio, and he was one of those who stood for Nnamdi Kanu at the time against the government of the day, the APC at the time under President Muhammadu Buhari, now that of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and that says a lot about how much of a clash he has had with them, and might just be some sort of irreconcilable differences in there that he might not be able to solve. Away from there, Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, if you want to mention one of the names that started the progressive movement, I don't want to say started the progressive movement, but joined at a point and of course made an immediate impact will be Aminu of from Sokoto State. He's a former Sokoto State governor. He's senator. He was on the floor of the House before now, House of Representatives, and then you see what he's been able to do. But then there was a time there was a clash, and then he's been able to speak out and frequently criticize the APC administration, especially on economic and governance issues. Right now, I don't think he has what it takes to, I mean, he might just have what it takes, but he doesn't have that relationship to say, I'm going into the APC. Don't forget that even before he joined the ADC, and the people of Sokoto State, especially that of the ADC in the Sokoto State, got to know that he was coming to the party, some people revolted and said they don't want Tambuwal in their political party. There must be a reason for that. And if the ADC say, some of, maybe it might not be all of them, maybe a few of them say they don't want Tambuwal in their party, you can imagine what will happen when it says it's going to the APC. So a lot of problems in there to be solved, and then it might just not be ready to go through that long bureaucracy to say I want to join that political party. Senator Ireti Kingibe, a vocal one, who has also clashed with Nyesom Wike of the Federal Capital Territory. And as it stands, the only party Nyesom Wike does not have a hand in the FCT right now might just be the ADC. Right, because he doesn't have a relationship with them, but he has fraternized with the APC and the PDP at one point or the other in the FCT. And if Ireti Kingibe wants to return to the floor of the House, might just want to do away with Nyesom Wike, because I don't think the battle between these two will end anytime soon. I think there was a time someone called Ireti Kingibe a particular name and said Nyesom Wike's husband, something like that, and he was quite furious about someone saying that, and he lashed out too. So that might just be a problem. Another person, the fourth one, is Victor Umeh. I won't flog that too much, but he's a former APGA leader. Okay, before he moved from his political party. There's something about members of APGA. At one point or the other, I think some of them have actually said, look, there's never a time I'm leaving this political party. And eventually they did. Peter Obi, for example, in fact, he swore on national television that he was never going to leave the political party, and if he does, let this happen, let that happen, and he kept saying a lot of things. And that is the same Peter Obi that has moved from the APGA as a political party and joined the Labour Party, and joined, of course, from APGA to PDP, from PDP to Labour Party, and from Labour Party to ADC. So if we want to talk about people who cross carpet at will and with no break at whatsoever, you can call Peter Obi one of the journeyman politicians in Nigeria. But that's where we are. It is still some of his loyalists that will say, well, some people are not loyal to their political parties. They are moving from one party to the other. I think we should get something straight in Nigeria. We should get it right. And what I think we should be doing is, whatever affects you as a person, okay, you don't accuse other people of it. If you want to say you are a serial cross-carpeter, we agree. But how about you? Okay, we should not now pin that on one person because that person has moved. So someone like Peter Obi does not have the effrontery to now call Atiku a serial cross-carpeter because they are now the same. Atiku has moved from one party to the other. Yes, he was in the SDP, PDP, PDP to ACN at the time, ACN back to PDP, PDP to ADC. He's moved a lot of times. But then, what is he looking for? The golden ticket. He wants to contest and win an election. Unfortunately, he has contested and lost. Will this be his chance, or will this be another loss for Atiku even from the primary level? Let's see what will happen to the ADC. But as they are moving, let them understand the fact that there might still likely be an internal implosion. Okay, because you are meeting some people. We call some people the aborigines. Okay, they are the original owners of the party. You met them in there. And once you come, you are definitely going to do point and kill. I want that, I want this, I want that. But when it doesn't work and they say, oh, we cannot give you this, you can as well manage this, and then the crisis erupts, what will happen to the party in the long run? Because as it stands, I do not consider the PDP a major opposition force in Nigeria because the PDP is fragmented, and of course it has disintegrated in the last few years. We now have two major factions, but in there, we still have some factions that have not surfaced. Just let it go the way they don't like, and you'll see what will happen to them. You see them being vocal. But in the long run, let's see how the ADC can maneuver and be able to stay firm in the midst in the face of the storm, just like the APC has done in the last, let's say, 12 years or thereabout. The PDP ruled for 16 years. Will the APC be able to get a fair share of the cake and say, we also did 16 years and see what will happen after that?
All right, so speaking of the ADC, I think it's a peculiar party and a very important. I think ADC shares certain similarities with the Labour Party of 2023, not this current Labour Party, honestly. Because, I mean, I read that, currently ADC, has been able to snatch the dominant opposition party from the PDP. PDP as it stands now, I think they have about 7, lawmakers now, compared to the ADC that I think they have about 9 now. So I think they are getting that right. I mean, it's a good one for them. But then speaking about defection, I still, stand, and I want to mention that, there are still some defections that will happen within the APC, because it happens every single time we draw closer to the general elections, especially presidential elections. I want to believe that, looking at the APC as it stands now, is expanding. Some politicians that we don't even expect might leave the APC for the coalition party. And then I don't think it will shake APC, because so many persons feel like, Jagaban knows what he's doing. It doesn't matter who decides to leave. He will still, keep his party in check. And I think that is what PDP lacks. Look, in 2014, when Tambuwal left the PDP alongside the likes of Atiku, they walked out of the convention. And then later on, the likes of Atiku still came back. So people will always leave when they feel like he's not going to favor them. Because at that time, I think PDP is suffering from zoning problems. Because even in 2014, the major reason why some of these people left is because they decided to zone presidency to the south. And that's why some persons will say, the likes of Ofino will say, oh, Jonathan was greedy in 2014. He ought to have left, he served, why did he contest again? So these are the issues. I want to believe that, if you look at the ADC as a party now, majority, or let me say the popular advocate of Labour Party at that time, they are moved to the ADC. Maybe that will count for something. But then another major problem, just like you both have mentioned, is interest. And then who is going to take the ticket at the end of the day? And one more thing is, PDP is good at one thing. They will support you, but at the end of the day, they will work against you. I'm telling you, most of them went on national TV to say, okay, when we told them, let's zone to this place, they said, no, we work against them, and we are good today. So I don't want, if ADC should adopt that same system, and it's the beginning of doom of that coalition, I'm sorry. Because if they cannot toe the part of ACN, CPC, what they did in 2014, I'm not sure they can be able to achieve anything tangible in the next general elections. Of course, good luck to the opposition party, but as it stands now, I want to believe all of them should go and take a dot and a pen and begin to jot down things from the APC. How are they doing is that, we have just 2 governors left in the People's Democratic Party. I don't think it has ever been this bad. I mean, for opposition parties.
2 governors that are not returning to office.
And both of them are not even agreeing. Bala Mohammed, is not ready to reconcile with Wike. Makinde on the other hand, his body language, maybe in a way, might want to still reconcile and get the party in order. But Bala is not even having it. He doesn't want to hear anything.
But these 2 governors are not returning to office. Exactly. They have nothing to lose. Bala Mohammed has been the minister of the FCT. He was a sitting lawmaker in Nigeria. He's senator. So whatever it is you are doing, anybody that is really serious, anybody that is serious with their political ambitions in Nigeria should not really align with these 2, because they have absolutely nothing.
It's just bad for PDP. 2 governors left, and if care is not taken, who says Makinde cannot?
You can say 2 big governors.
Makinde can even defect tomorrow,
anyway.
And they'll be left with just Bala Mohammed.
I also think one game changer in all of this is what INEC has come to say, especially with the time frame now. By April 23 and May 30, primaries are supposed to be conducted, and this is one of the things this is where we will know who really is serious. Right. Because if you don't get your primaries by this time, the INEC as a body, there's a lot of things that can come from that. You understand the implication of if you don't get your house in order, if you don't get your primaries done by that time, and it's just this is March. The April 23 is just a few days to that time. So, I mean, a lot of parties are still doing a lot of defections, which is okay. But I think, for one, if there's a party that we can mention now that has, like, maybe the structure, because their chairman, the APC chairman, has come out to say, Yuanda has said a lot of things about their primaries and all of that they already have a lot of things in plan. One, PDP does not really have yet. ADC, we are expecting something now. Maybe a lot of people now say, okay, so let's start this movement. Because this is going to be a game changer for them because of this short time. This very short time might mean so much for them that if they don't get it. So one of the ways I'm going to look out for any party that is ready to do well is that they should get their primaries settled in just a month But otherwise, there's going to be problems for the party.
Well, for the PDP, I don't think that is actually possible because when you look at the situation of things,
The factions.
there are too many factions. There are parallel congresses and conventions being muted, and of course some are being done at this time.
The court even ruled that they should settle out of court at this point.
The court has seen it all. They feel like it's too much of a problem for them. In fact, one of the judgments they gave was that you cannot repackage old case for us to now give a fresh judgment. So it means that the court is tired of what the PDP is bringing to the table. However, I still believe, lastly before we go, that we should get to a stage in our electoral act that once you have contested a primary in a particular political party, you cannot go anywhere. Just stay there. Okay, that's your party for the year, and once the election is done, you can now move to whatever you like. So it won't be like okay, you have moved from one political party. Once they are done with their primaries, you see that you don't have a ticket, you now go to a lesser party. You feel like, okay, from here I can actually bully them financially or with my structures, and then say I'm taking the ticket from you, so that every party will now have a level playing field. Let's all have our primaries almost at the same time, so more or less like an election, because it's now indirect primaries or consensus. So let's have it at the same time, just like it is done all over the world. That you cannot say I contested primaries here and then I'm going there to contest another primary for the same election. What are you looking for? What is lost that you are looking for? Okay, let's take weather report on this show this morning. Let's help you plan your day.